Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today we're going to be doing an initial review on the China Rising DLC. This is the brand new DLC for Battlefield 4 that gives us 4 new China Rising maps. It gives us a few new gadgets for the Recon and Support class, and a total of 5 new weapons. If you've been playing on the console side, these should be new weapons for you. If you've been playing on PC, you might have had access to them for a little while. One of the main features of China Rising is this bomber that I'm sitting in right now. This bomber can be activated on Conquest game modes by controlling the middle point on the map. Once you control that middle point, you can go into a portable vehicle there, and that gives you access to a single bombing run. Once you complete your bombing run, it has to recharge. It'll take a little while, but during the bombing run, you can drop JDAM bombs and a cruise missile. By no means does this bomber have the same kind of power that the AC-130 had back in Battlefield 3's Armored Kill, so I don't think we're going to have to worry about people crying out overpowered by any means. You get one single bombing run, you can usually kill 1 or 2 guys during that bombing run, and then you're done, you get back to the battlefield. Now that little device that you saw me shoot at right there is called the UCAV, the Unmanned Combat Aerial Vehicle. It's basically a mortar with wings. It's a tiny little airplane that explodes, and you're going to see me set it down here, fly it up in the air, and then you got to curve it back down and ram it into targets, or you can even detonate it in mid-air if you want. I believe you can take out helicopters with this. I haven't been fortunate enough to hit one yet, but it certainly is pretty funny hitting guys across the map with it, and I'm sure they're not too pleased about me being able to take them out with a tiny little airplane. And speaking of tiny airplanes, this is the Recon gadget that you get. This is the SUAV, small UAV. In the lower right hand portion of the heads-up display, I have a little battery meter there, and that's basically the amount of time I can control this airplane. Now with this airplane, I can spot targets, I can basically survey the land, I can laser designate targets for other players to lock on with their rocket launchers, or I can even run players over. And this is a pretty funny feature of the game. I have a feeling DICE may reduce its ability to run people over just because how easy it is right now. I watched a pretty funny video from Robaz showing him go like 29-0 just running people over with this airplane, and it's pretty hilarious. But those are the 2 new gadgets, and they're quite interesting. I'm sure we're going to find a lot of new uses for them, and it's going to be very interesting to see how people deal with, say, campers now that we have a lot of anti-camper gadgetry available. Of the 4 new maps, this one is Guilin Peaks, and it is my favorite. It just looks so lush, so green. It's also infantry heavy, which I am kind of partial to. I like vehicles and all, but I really like maps that focus on infantry combat. This one here just has a transport helicopter. You can even get the bomber in the center of the map, although infantry have pretty darn good cover against the bomber in these cave areas, and these cave areas offer really great infantry combat choke points. Things get crazy, lots of grenades. Just having a ton of fun with this map in general. Now currently Battlefield 4 has offered us a lot of urban environments, a lot of corners, doorways, windows, that sort of thing. In China Rising, we're not going to see a lot of that. It's very outdoorsy, much more open, and it definitely brings back an old school Battlefield feeling. Something that I was very familiar with seeing in Battlefield Vietnam. Even this map here looks very much like Bad Company 2 or Battlefield Vietnam. You really gotta kind of change your mindset about how you move around the map, and you'll notice I'm using a suppressed weapon here because staying off that mini-map is extremely important when most of your cover is only visual cover. Now we've moved over to the Silk Road map, and this is probably my second favorite map of the 4. The Conquest version offers 2 little birds on each side, which gets pretty interesting. This is the Domination version of the map and is quarantined to a much smaller infantry-focused area, and I gotta say, visually this map is really stunning once you get outside of this infantry base. I haven't quite seen anything like it in any of the Battlefield games to date. We've seen plenty of desert maps in Battlefield, but this is just a different kind of desert topography. This map here is Altai Range, and it's very, very open. It reminds me a lot of the Armored Kill expansion from Battlefield 3. Not a lot of infantry cover except for the center of the map where there's a big radar tower, lots of rocky areas, and this is the one area where the infantry kind of reign supreme, and when we're assaulting it, we kind of have nicknamed it Mount Doom because it's got very steep peaks. It's hard to get up, and you're probably going to die in the assault process. but it's a lot of fun to actually move around the center of the map and kind of move out and try and take points from there. Here we are back at Guilin Peaks. I'm hiding out in one of the caves using the SCAR HSV, which stands for Sniper Variant. It's a DMR. And because it's so dark in this cave here, these enemies are having a real hard time pinpointing my location. Now, I believe even after spotting me, it would probably still be difficult to land any shots on me because I've covered most of my body with this large rock here. So they could be shooting at me but hitting the rock in front. Just because it's so dark, it's very hard for them to be actually able to outline my body and see exactly where I'm standing. So I have free reign here and I'm just able to mow them down with the ACOG sight and the SCAR HSV. So with the new expansion, we get the new game mode, Air Superiority, which I actually covered in yesterday's video. And not only do we get Air Superiority, but we get every single game mode that has been previously available in Battlefield 4 on these 4 new maps. So we've got Obliteration, we've got Domination, we've got Team Deathmatch, we've got Conquest, we've got Rush. I'm playing Rush here. Rush is pretty interesting, and I think a lot of the maps it's very difficult to design a map that plays well in all these game modes, and I think the level designers have done a pretty good job, all things considered. Obviously, some of the game modes are going to work out better than others, and some of them will become very popular, and the servers are going to start reflecting that pretty soon. Here we are on Dragon Pass, and although this is another big outdoor map, it does offer a lot of really large visual obstructions for air vehicles and for sort of separating the battles on the ground. And I'm actually using a stealth jet here, first time for everything, and I've got my active radar missiles which auto hit that helicopter and I'm able to bring it down. But it is just very cool visually flying through these massive peaks here. And finally I get to show you Silk Road on Conquest instead of Domination here, and just driving tanks around this map. There's plenty of armored combat to be had, so if you're a big fan of armored vehicles, you can pretty much get around the map very quickly, especially on Silk Road, and you can dominate those infantry. As you can see, there's tons of different mesa levels, so if you're on the top level of a mesa, you kind of rain down on everything below you. Now, I'm frequently asked this question, and even more so now that the first DLC is available for Battlefield 4, and that is premium worth it? You know, premium I think is something like 40, maybe even 50 bucks depending on what kind of deal you get or when you purchased it, and it gives you access to all the expansions. It also gives you access to them 2 weeks early, which is a nice little benefit, and that definitely gives you a leg up on the competition. But the real value of premium is whether or not the DLC is actually worthwhile. Based on my experience with Battlefield 3, I was pretty positive and pleased with all the DLC that came out. I think it offered a little bit of something for every type of player out there. If you're a vehicle person, definitely China Rising offers you a lot of gameplay on the Conquest modes for vehicle stuff. But even then, if you're an infantry-only person, you also get 5 new weapons, and you also get the Domination and Team Deathmatch versions of each of the maps, which definitely offer some very, very good infantry combat. So overall, China Rising feels like a very, very solid DLC. It definitely brings back some feelings, some nostalgic feelings from Battlefield Vietnam, even Battlefield Bad Company 2 a little bit. I'm liking it a lot. I'm looking forward to seeing how the map sort of progress as people learn the layouts and better strategies formulate around it. Really looking forward to playing this more, and definitely checking out the new DLC as it comes out. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you haven't played it yet, what you're looking forward to the most, and if you have played it, if there's any cool little tricks or secrets or tips or whatever that you figured out, I would love to hear it. As always, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.